Hello and welcome to Brass Tacks. I'm Zaka Jacob. A fresh controversy has erupted in Karnataka as the Siddaramaiah government has decided to repeal the anti-conversion law which was introduced by the former BJP government. The government will bring in a bill in the upcoming assembly session starting July the 3rd. The anti-conversion law, also known as the Karnataka Protection of Right to Freedom of Religion law, was passed by the Basavaraj Bommai government in December of 2021. The law, which makes religious conversion through coercion, misrepresentation or allurement as illegal, has been adopted by many BJP-ruled states, including Karnataka. The Congress has called the law unconstitutional and against the ethos of communal harmony. The party claims that the law is being used as a tool to harass minorities. Ahead of the elections, the party had promised to repeal the law, and now it says it has the mandate to do so. Hindu groups have been up in arms, the Bajrang Dal staging protests against the government. As communal fault lines return, the big question remains, can the new government's political agenda not be mired in appeasement politics?
We have a constitution. If one learns to respect the constitution, that is always better for the country. All we are now doing is just repeal that provisos which the previous government brought about, and that's all we are doing. And we respect, our government respect the constitution.
We are now making that in tune with the constitutional spirit.
अगर वो लोग वो बिल को वापस लेना चाहते हैं तो हाउस और हाउस के बाहर भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी उसके प्रोटेस्ट करेंगे.
We had come out with a really good bill. It was very people-centric, but Congress, again, appeasement politics. They just want to distract the people from the guarantee scheme because they failed in guarantee. They are not able to deliver the guarantees. They are not able to keep up the promise. They are trying to distract.
All right, full panel joining us on the top of the show here on Brass Tacks. Madhu N. Rao is spokesperson of the BJP in Karnataka. Lavanya Ballal is spokesperson of the Congress party. Rashmi Sawant, Hindu rights activist, and KV Dhananjay is a lawyer and political analyst. Lavanya Ballal, let me start with asking you, what is the compelling need to get rid of this law? After all, I'm sure most congressmen and women agree that any conversion of one's religion through forceful means or through inducements must not be encouraged.
Good evening, Zaka. If you look at the measures that were taken by the BJP government or the incidents that happened to the lead of amendment of this anti-conversion law, there was one MLA of the BJP who complained that his mother has been forcefully converted to Christianity, and then he also alleged that a few villages in Chitradurga district have been forcefully converted. The Tehsildar of that particular area was sent for fact-checking, and he came back with a report wherein he said the villagers claimed they were not forcefully converted or they were not induced to convert to any religion, but they are very happy after the conversion.
Okay.
Now, when we are talking conversion, Zaka, also the question that arises, was there a necessity to change the existing anti-conversion laws? So why did they go and add a clause? You know, if you look at the change amendments that happened last year, it also said if two adults, consenting adults, want to marry of two different religions, they will have to inform the DC's office at least 90 days prior to the wedding date. And if anybody, it need not be family and friends, if anybody had an objection, they could put an objection and then there will be an inquiry about the whole thing. Now,
but ma'am, this is not just vis-a-vis marriage. It could be any conversion where there is some form of either force that is used or inducements that are used. And this law, the Karnataka law that was passed in 2021, discourages and penalizes both conversion through force and conversion through inducement. What is wrong with that?
Yeah, 2022. Now, we are not saying somebody should induce, or we will encourage somebody inducing somebody to convert, or somebody should be forced to convert. We are not encouraging any of that. But if you look at the last 1 year, 12 months of the BJP's governance in Karnataka, we are very clear how the minorities in the state were hounded, the Christians were hounded in the state, and then this amendment happened. Now, my question is simple: what was the necessity to change the existing anti-conversion laws, which already exists in India? One. Two, if two consenting adults want to get married, why should it be the entire world's business? Three, if somebody is being induced, what is it that they are being induced with, Zaka? This is a very social challenge that we all should contemplate.
It could be money, it could be societal progress. But anyway, that aside, I want to ask Madhu Rao, and I think on the specific aspect which your party and your extended affiliate organizations are calling love jihad. Lavanya Balal says, if two people who are consenting adults above the age of 21, majors by law, want to get married or want to be in a relationship, then who is anyone to stop them?
Zaka, good evening. I think the Congress party is best efforts in confusing the people, just like the guarantees. I mean, first of all, let me tell you one thing. They are not able to cater to the needs of the people with regard to the guarantees, so they want to divert it. Now, point one. Point two, let me come to the specifics of this issue. Have the Congress read what the Act says? What the Act says? It says if there is a conversion, and kindly let the Congress person be aware that it is not anti-conversion, it's a regulation of conversion. Point one. Point two, what have we told? The conversion must not be because of misrepresentation, force, undue influence, coercion, allurement. What's wrong in that? I mean, I really don't understand the ministers of the Congress government saying that it is unconstitutional. Perhaps they have not read the Constitution. What does Article 25 say? What does the Stainless versus State of Madhya Pradesh judgment say? I quote. The court says what is freedom for one is freedom for the other in equal measure, and therefore there cannot be such thing as fundamental right to convert any persons to one religion.
No, but Mr. Rao, please explain. One second. Hear me out, please. Please explain to our viewers why a person who is above the age of 21 or above the age of 18, whether it is for purposes of marriage or whether it is for any purposes, upon his or her free will is converting from one religion to another. What is your problem?
Mr. Zaka, I think don't be confused just like the Congress party. I will read section 3 of the bill for you, the act for you. It says no person shall convert or attempt to convert either directly or indirectly or any other person from one religion to another by the use of misrepresentation, force.
But there are already provisions in the Indian Penal Code to check that.
Where is it?
There are already provisions. 503 is criminal intimidation.
Please tell me.
No, one second. Mr. Rao, if you do not know the law, then please humbly. Please humbly submit. Mr. Rao, one second.
For conversion.
One second. What you are claiming, whether it is by forcible means, there is 503 criminal intimidation. Whether it is by allurement, there are relevant. One second. There are relevant provisions of the IPC. Point is, you want to play Hindu-Muslim, therefore you brought the conversion law, and it fell flat. You lost the election. Sorry, Mr. Rao, you got 65 seats. Your problem.
That's a different issue.
No, that is very much the center of the issue. You got 65 seats despite Tipu, despite conversion law, despite anti-cow slaughter law. You are reduced to 65 seats. Mr. Rao, sorry. You are reduced to 6-5 number of seats. That is what you are reduced to, despite all that you tried to do in Karnataka. That is the allegation from the Congress party. Mr. Rao, calm down. I know you are very worked up after having lost the election. But the point is, the point is that you brought all of this. You brought all of this, and yet you lost in the worst possible fashion in the last 30 years in the state of Karnataka. Point that the Congress and the rest of the opposition is making is, you play Hindu-Muslim, it fell flat. Now please, course correct is what is being told.
Following the constitutional norms doesn't mean to say that we are doing something wrong. You please tell us what is unconstitutional in that.
No less than the High Court of Karnataka raised questions about the anti-conversion law. Are you telling me the High Court of Karnataka is not well versed with the Constitution of India? Mr. Rao, are you telling me, Mr. Rao, are you telling me the High Court of Karnataka is not well versed with the Constitution of India?
The Supreme Court of India is wrong for a moment. We in the Act have specifically stated the Supreme Court citation and told, and it is in terms of the 1977 judgment. What is wrong in that?
Let me ask Rashmi Sawant. No, I'm sorry. Let me ask Rashmi Sawant. Point is, one part is legal, the other part is political. The legal part, like I said, the Karnataka High Court raised very serious questions about this law. It is currently under perusal of the Supreme Court. That is the legal part. The political part, and this is what the Congress and other opposition parties are saying, that after having tried all of this, anti-cow slaughter law, anti-conversion law, what did the BJP end up with? They ended up with 65 seats, meaning they are saying the people of Karnataka have rejected it. Rashmi Sawant, please respond. Please respond.
Well, Zaka, I feel that I would want to, respond to this from a human rights perspective. From a human rights perspective, we've seen that despite, prevalent laws in the Indian Constitution, young girls are being misled, they're being radicalized, and they're being shipped abroad to, nefarious ends. And this is happening. This is happening in Kerala, which is very close to my own hometown, which is in Karnataka, but very close to the border. And it is something that the coastal region is also suffering from. From that perspective, I feel that there is a requirement for a robust, anti-conversion law. And I think it isn't dubious for a country like India, because this is a country where the majority religion is supporting an anti-conversion law. Whilst you see that in countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh, where there is prevalent majoritarian violence, it is the minority who demand it. Here it's the majority who is demanding it. So it's clearly not being asked to, achieve any nefarious ends. There's no malicious intent behind, the ask for an anti-conversion law.
But Rashmi Sawant, I think the question that's also being asked is, is there data to show that there was rampant conversion of people, whether to Islam or to Christianity, through forceful means or through inducement? Are substantial numbers to show that warrants a law like this?
Well, I think there are substantial numbers, because we've seen in our localities this happening, and we've seen, I think Kerala story was a great indicator of what is actually happening in that state. And an extension of the same is actually happening here as well. I mean, I live miles away from a region called Bhatkal, where people, it's crazy to, actually live in that locality and to see it. I'd like to say that it's been a lived experience to see these things.
Okay.
And as long as there isn't any malicious intent behind a law, and, it's only being put across to protect interests and human rights of people, then I think that should be allowed, but in a, better and in a more robust way, not in a political sense.
Okay,
not
so
with,
let me ask KV Dhananjay, there is ample evidence to show, and Rashmi is right, there are numerous cases of people, young girls from different religions who've converted to Islam and been taken to Afghanistan and to Syria and Iraq to supposedly, quote-unquote, fight for ISIS. These are people who are being brainwashed in their early 20s. There needs to be, the law is sort of catching up with the phenomena that we are seeing in our society, and therefore the BJP's claim and its affiliate organizations, their claim is that there was a compelling need for such a law, whether in Karnataka or in Kerala or any of the other southern states.
Well, you don't make a law to deal with 4 instances or 5 instances. All of these laws, start with this clause misrepresentation, and that's where these laws also fail. How do you effectively, implement a clause that says misrepresentation? If somebody comes along, if a person from religion A comes to a person in religion B and says, look, your gods won't be able to protect you. It's only our gods that would be able to protect you. And we feel sorry for you. Why don't you simply convert? That's misrepresentation. But that's also the root of religion. Every religion starts with a claim like this. So every religion, therefore, in one sense, in a very philosophical sense, starts with a misrepresentation. And that is why these laws are not practical.
No, but
now,
Mr. Dhananjay, what if that conversion is also accompanied by the promise or the allure that, okay, we will get you a quota in a minority institution for education, or we will, make sure that your caste status is changed? That is straight up fraudulent means. That is straight up allurement.
We already have laws. 1860, more than 100-year-old law will take care of that. So the reason why these laws don't seem to serve the purpose that they, are promised, for which they were made in the very first place is you take the conviction in Uttar Pradesh. Now that conviction under the new law, anti-conversion law, that conviction could have been maintained because the principal offence there was one of abduction, which is anyway a crime under the IPC.
Yeah.
The anti-conversion law is less on the legal and constitutional side, and it's more of a political matter. And when it is looked at from a political prism, it's important to recognize that, look, Hinduism, at the end of the day, and most of these laws are intended to safeguard, except cases like in Arunachal Pradesh. Otherwise, most of the laws in the country are intended to preserve the majority, and that's a problem, because the majority here is the Hindu religion, and then the majority constitutes so many people who are not really welcome in the first place. They happen to be Dalits, they happen to be the untouchables. We don't seem to ask them if they are okay with a law like this, because poverty, in fact, makes it nearly impossible to have any meaningful, have a law and then to implement it meaningfully. If someone, caste-wise, the only thing is ever done is to clean sewers, and someone from some other religion comes along and says, look, we feel very sorry for you, your gods simply won't protect you, and then you happen to be an untouchable in your religion, come away to our religion, and then we also see that you are in need of money, we will give you money, you are free to make use of this money.
So you don't think that is allurement?
Our
you
laws
don't think,
are parliament?
No, Mr. Dhananjay, you don't think that the instance or the example that you just cited, you don't think that is allurement? You don't think that is, playing around with nefarious means to convert one's religion?
Yeah, allurement per se is not a crime. It can't be made a crime. And that's where you will also see the limitations of all the judgments of our courts. Because these judgments, at the most, apply to the facts of the case. I just gave you an instance, and, how do you really establish a crime there? More so, if the person who was doing it was not part of an organized scheme. He was just doing it as an individual. He was just doing it as a small, part of a small community.
Okay.
And that is where these laws fail, and that also must explain the fact that
I think we need to be very clear.
Was a state that
I think we need to be very clear that whether it is allurement, inducement, money, whatever it is also a crime.
Why do you call that as allurement?
No, because it is.
I just want to know why do you call that as allurement?
Once again, because to say that, okay, once again, I'll tell you why it is allurement, Mr. Dhananjay, because to say that, oh, you're caught in the vestiges of the caste system, I will free you from that, and then take you to another religion. The fundamental reason why anybody should convert, if at all anyone should, is because he or she believes in that faith. In this case, that is not the fundamental reason. The fundamental reason is to escape from the clutches in another religion. And that, I'm sorry. This
is very subjective.
It's not subjective. How is it subjective? One second. Is the fundamental purpose?
Please go over to people who practice any given religion.
One second, Mr. Dhananjay. I'm sure you have a faith of your own. You believe in a certain faith. If somebody were to come and tell you, okay, I will give you, hundreds of crores of property and convert to another religion, would that be allurement?
Well, the law is very poorly defined. May not be, because it depends on
I'm asking
how
you,
the person
as a lawyer,
receives it.
Is that allurement? If somebody, I'm using your example because you're reasonably well-to-do. I don't want to get into this instance where somebody is a sewer cleaner or whatever. But I'm using well-off upper middle class people's example. If somebody comes to you and says, oh, I will give you crores and crores of wealth and assets and property and whatever, all you need to do is to convert your religion. Is that allurement or not?
Well, it's a promise. It may not be an allurement, because allurement has a taint, which is like you have to first make a judgment. You have to say that this is improper. What gives you the authority to say that it's improper? May not be improper from the perspective of the person who is offering it. So it's a promise. That is why these laws most often fail.
And Mr. Dhananjay, I'll go to Lavanya Ballal after this. To my mind, it is akin to paying a bribe. You are bribing someone to change his or her religion For whatever reason, you're saying you can escape from the clutches or the problems of your religion, or you can, I'm promising you X, Y, Z, therefore convert. None of that should be the reason why anyone should change anyone's religion. You should fundamentally change, and I'm absolutely for adult. No, once
I just want to know.
Hey, once again, so that I'm very clear about this. Once again, so that I'm very clear about this. I'm absolutely for adult people above the age of 18 with their rational mind, of their own free will and volition, deciding to change their religion from one to another. But that is a very, very individual decision. It is a decision of faith. It is that person's very personal decision. That should not have anything to do with any form of allurement or inducement or coercion, for that matter. But Lavanya Balal, the point that the BJP and its affiliates are making is that the current laws do not have the adequate provisions to address these concerns.
Well, Zaka, first of all, we need to look at, does it infringe on the Article 25, the right to religion? That is first question. And second, when we are talking about anti-conversion law in Karnataka, in 2021, from January to November 2021, there were 39 violent incidents of violence against Christians in Karnataka, especially the Dalits who had converted to Christianity. The violence was against them. And also, Karnataka has seen increased violence on the Dalits from the Hindu religion. Now, when Ms. Rashmi was talking about data, she also cites the Kerala story as part of the example. It is, I'm sure she's also aware, not be considered as data. I live in coastal Karnataka. I have a house. Now I'm asking her to provide data of conversion because, ma'am, I live just a stone's throw away. My house is from stone's throw away from the border. I also have a house across the border. I have not seen forced conversions. I have not seen anything like the Kerala story happening.
Zaka,
okay. No, Mr. Madhu Rao, the question to you, and I'll come to Rashmi also in a moment, is if an adult person, I'm not getting into the question of minors, if a person above 18, he or she, is deciding to change their religion for whatever reason, who are you to stop them?
Exactly, Zaka. Just give me a minute. I won't take more than 1 minute. I mean, we are going in round and round of the same thing. Let me be very clear. What you told just now to Mr. Dhananjay has been emphatically stated in the Stainless versus State of MP. What is the issue? We are telling the court, we have to respect the constitution first. Let us agree on that. We are telling right to propagate, please propagate. We have no issue. But that does not give you a right to convert. What's wrong in that? That should not be because of allurement. That should not be because of misrepresentation. That should not be because of coercion. That is it. Why
are you assuming? Mr. Madhu, once again, why are you assuming all conversion is because of allurement or coercion?
Where did we say
Adult
that?
people of their own free will can convert. The constitution allows them to do that.
It should be subject to public order. That is what we have told. Go to the police. Whoever the authorities
if one individual is converting, let's say for purposes of marriage, how is it affecting public order? You are the guys who are affecting public order, not them.
I am not told. The Supreme Court has told.
Where?
Is simple.
In which case?
That should be subject to public order.
No, which case has it affected public order? Which case has it affected public order? Mr. Rao, I'm asking you, please specifically cite the case, the instance where the conversion of an individual, legally adult individual above the age of 18, has affected public order. Please tell me.
Unless and until it doesn't come to the police station or to the authorities, anyone is free to get converted based on his volition. What is wrong in that? We have no issues on that.
Yes.
I think the Congress party is only catering to the needs of the persons who have voted for them. Fair enough. This is what they've been doing for 75 years.
You still have not answered my question.
They've been confusing the people.
You have still not answered my question. Please name one instance where the conversion of a legal adult of his or her own free will has led to a law and order problem in your state.
Mr. Zaka, if a person is forcing another person to marry and if that person converts, haven't we seen love jihad cases? You want more examples than that? Haven't we seen what is happening in Kerala? 6,000 cases have been registered from 2011 to 2015. A report from the Kerala government says, similar things are happening in Karnataka also. Why do you think those things are happening?
No.
Happening?
So please tell me, as I'll move to Rashmi after this, you are in power from 2020 to 2023. How many cases of love jihad have you registered when the BJP was in power?
There are cases been registered. Let it be one case. The law must be made.
No, but tell me the
Why
number.
Think that there must be several cases. Only then the law must be made. What sort of an argument?
Sir,
is
the law is to prevent a crime. Right? The law is to prevent a crime. So please tell me.
Exactly.
If you are saying that this is a prevalent phenomena, please give me the number. How many cases when BJP was in power did you register of forcible conversion?
Aren't there love jihad cases?
Give me a number, no, Mr. Rao.
You want more examples than that?
I'm asking you a question. Why are you asking me back a question? Give me an answer if you have one.
Let it be one case. Let it be two cases. Does not matter. The law must be in place. Why do you think there must be 50 cases or 100 cases? Only
Rashmi Samant, the problem in most of these instances is that these are adults who are converting. To be able to prove in a court of law that they were forcibly converted or converted through allurement or inducement, that's a mug's game, because all that person needs to say, as in the case, let's say the most famous of all of them, was the Hadia case. It went all the way to the Supreme Court. And all it took was one judge to ask Hadia, did you do this out of your own free will? And she said yes.
Well, Zaka, that's an interesting question. Firstly, I'd like to, answer to Ms. Lavanya by saying that I also lived there back in 2015 when the government situation was much different. Also, there's a Daily Mail article, so this was covered all the way in the UK, that youth were being, monitored in coastal Karnataka for ISIS links. That's how severe the problem has been, and this is not recent. This has been happening for more than 8 years now. I can name a girl, Deepthi Marla, who was arrested in Mangaluru for, having ISIS links, and she had converted from Hinduism. She was an erstwhile Hindu who had converted and was actively involved in recruiting, and she comes from that region. Unfortunately, these stories are not highlighted enough as a warning to others in society because of this whole debate of political correctness, and there aren't enough laws to hold people to account, the very people who pushed Deepthi to situations where she's getting arrested for extremism, whilst she had no background or no ties to it in the first place, but she was a target of malicious conversion. Now, I think we all agree that malicious conversion and, independent conversion are two separate things. And what the law needs to do is to target malicious conversions. Mm-hmm. And I think whatever be the intent and whatever be the state of mind of the victim at that place, that is purely from the conditioning that they've been, given. We see so much psychological conditioning happening, even through games. I think there was a recent case that came to fore where young children were being groomed online through games to convert to different religions and to adopt these extremist ideologies.
So let me give KV Dhananjay the final word. There was way back in 2006 in Kerala a communist chief minister, Mr. Achyutanandan, who said in the assembly that there were 100 cases of forcible conversion and people being taken to Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan in the name of ISIS. The next chief minister was a Congress chief minister, Mr. Umman Chandi, and he said in the assembly there were more than 2,500 cases of forcible conversion. Many of them landed up in many of these countries as part of ISIS. Now, these are not BJP chief ministers. These are left chief ministers. These are Congress chief ministers. If they are willing to acknowledge that there is a problem such as forcible conversion, and many of those cases ended up, going to Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan to fight for ISIS, a very divisive ideology, why are you then living in denial? Why are you saying that there is no need for an anti-conversion law?
Well, I look at it differently. It's not a question of denial. It's just that laws should start with basic honesty of purpose. Most of these laws don't really spell out the real objective of these laws, and unfortunately the objective of so many of these laws is to preserve the fidelity in the Hindu and the numbers and the volume of the Hindu religion, and Hinduism has basic fault lines. It's important for us to recognize that, and once we do that, There are other things that could be done far more meaningfully than making a law. Like, for instance, I don't see any state setting up a commission to find out what happens to the Dalits and other people from Hinduism who convert over to other religions, mostly because of allurement, as you say. What happens to them over a period of 10 or 20 years? There is not one state government that comes forward with any objective study, and that is how you will try to convince people that, look, you are struggling wherever you are, but then please don't believe these allurements or promises, because look at the data. So many people believed it, and then they are no better off.
Okay.
So I think that's far more meaningful and far more effective than laws like this, because laws are impractical to start with. The problem is religion starts with, at some level, a kind of misrepresentation, and all of these laws start, the very first clause in all of these laws is misrepresentation. So these laws, therefore, are not practical at all.
Okay, Lavanya Vallal, final word after wrap up after this, quickly.
I just wanted to remind everyone that Mr. Amit Shah in the parliament had said there are no cases of love jihad in India. Was he contradicting the CMs? Also, when we're talking
I don't think he said that. It was a written reply by the MOS home. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Zaka, one second. When you were talking about allurement, Zaka, you had asked a very valid question to Mr. Dhananjay. The point is, it's only the poor who are enticed usually to convert. Now, everybody is called a rice bag, right? My question is, if I'm going to convert for 2 bags of rice, what does it say about our social structure? What does it say about our security system? And who are these people who allow people
No, but isn't that a problem? If there are people converting for 2 bags of rice, shouldn't that be illegal? Shouldn't that be made illegal? Conversion should not happen for 2 bags of rice. It should happen because somebody believes in the faith that he or she is converting into.
Zaka, the question is, who are we as fellow
citizens? So if poverty is not illegal, then I think it's all right for people to, convert for 2 bags of rice.
You are saying it's okay for people to convert for 2 bags of rice. No, one second. Then how is conversion? No, sorry. No. I take exception to that fact. I take exception to that fact. If converting for 2 bags of rice is okay, then call it a PDS system. No, why are you calling it conversion?
Well,
it's a PDS system.
I will state for the record, if poverty pinches a person, it's all right for a person, therefore, to convert to another religion if
I
he
vehemently,
is told that poverty, he will be free of poverty, and if he
disagree that anyone should be converting because it helps him or her escape poverty or gets him or her 2 bags of rice.
Please disagree.
I vehemently disagree.
But then you don't recognize poverty is abject in this country.
No, fair enough. I'm not for a moment condemning or looking down on those people. Yes, I feel for their plight. But to change your religion to escape poverty, I don't think that should be the reason that anyone should be converting his or her religion. And if it requires a law to stop that, and if it requires a law to stop that, then absolutely bring the law. No, one second. If it requires a law to stop people from converting for 2 bags of rice, then absolutely bring that law. Also, while you bring that law, let's be very clear that in the case of consenting adults who are converting, whether it is for marriage purposes or any other purposes, unless, people around can make a compelling case that, there was inducement or allurement or some kind of force that was used, 2 consenting individual adults are well within their right to convert their religion. But like I said, it should be for non-inducement, non-coercion purposes. But we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much to all our guests.